I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to chapter 21, She's Getting Into Shape. Yeah, she's really beginning to start to look like something. Have you ever been in a place where you really felt like you weren't much of anything? Well, that's what that little table right there used to feel like. This little table right here used to feel like not much anything at all. It was actually on the side of a road where my daughter saw it, and she grabbed it up and said, "Hey Mom, we should do something with this." And it's now become affectionately known as my galaxy table because I did a paint pour on top of it. And then I turned it into like a little farmhouse style table. And I've done that with quite a few things in my house. Another example would be this little desk right here. This little desk was a $30 desk I found at Salvation Army. And it was also something that looked like it had been through a lot in life. But I found some beauty within both of these things. And that's what we're doing with Adventura, the bus in this chapter, is we're helping her find her beauty within. That is something that I love to do, is I see potential in things, and then I just like to bring out that potential. And so I invite you to come along the journey and enjoy as she gets walls. We're getting walls put up in her this week, and she's beginning to take shape. So I invite you to come along, and please stay through the whole video so you can see all of it. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the journey. Good day. And you know, every good day starts with a good cleanup. So that's what we're doing here. We're just starting with cleaning up the workspace. Sometimes I'm very guilty of having a very messy workspace. They say creative minds are rarely tidy. Well, my creative mind sometimes is not too tidy. I do value organization, and I like to have things organized, but when I'm in the middle of a project, things can get kind of chaotic. And I am very guilty of that. But I do like to try and start with a clean slate sometimes, and that's what I was doing here, is just getting things set up with a clean slate. I've been struggling with some camera issues lately of, you know, my GoPro has not been working perfectly, but I've also been using a new camera set up with getting time-lapse video. The problem with that is I set it up in one static display, and I am not necessarily catching the greatest camera angle to get. This one doesn't have as wide of an angle, visual angle, as the GoPro does, so I don't get as broad a spectrum of a shot with this particular camera. It does a great job at time-lapse video, but I'm not capturing all that. So, and I haven't been using the GoPro as much because it just uses so much footage. And I'm trying to get the up-close work as well as the far-away work. And you see I have the GoPro next to me there. So I'm going to try and see if I can get that up-close work there so I can do the double camera thing. But I don't know that I was able to get it to work. I was having some difficulties with my GoPro. And I was trying a new memory card out, and that's what I was doing. And it wasn't working right. I was trying to capture more video. Okay, so what you see me doing here is I'm finishing out the framing for this particular section. I've made a lot of progress on the walls, and so I'm finishing up the framing here in this section. I did not tape the joints yet, and you're going to see me later realize that I didn't tape the joints in this section, and you'll see me working on it after I already get this up. So yeah, kind of was an afterthought. So this is the same old process of, you know, drill a hole, put a screw in, and put the framing up, and basically put the 1x2s in and measure it up and get it in. What I did decide to do on this was during the process of doing all this framing, I'm like, I've got the walls already insulated on the bus itself, and then I said, hey, I've got another inch, 3/4 of an inch of space here that I can fill in with some more insulation. So I basically ended up double insulating the walls, and I have the walls on the bus insulated, and now I did this frame out and I insulated the frame out section. So I have 2 layers of rigid foam insulation, and I think that's going to help a lot. Don't know how well it's going to work, but it does seem to be doing a pretty good job. I have noticed a temperature difference between the outside and inside the bus, although only in the last few days have I really had some super cold temperatures. Last night it got down to 26. This is about a week after, I think it's almost 2 weeks after. No, this is last week. So this is about a week ago, week and a half ago that I did this recording, and now it is in mid-December, and I'm actually recording this while it's mid-December now, and it's got down to 26 last night, so it was pretty cold. And here you see me sizing up the supports here. That I basically spaced all my supports 16 inches on center. You see me check for trying to make it as square as possible, because we remember there's no level on a bus and it's hard to make everything square. So we do our best we can to make it as square as possible, but we don't expect perfection in a bus. So do have everything 16 inches on center whenever possible, and I'm trying to mark the studs before I cover them up. So that's been the goal, and I'm trying to get them in pretty tight too, so they fit real tight, and that way it's not a lot of wobbling and such in the bus. So I'm finishing up. I have used my Craig jig to put those in, and they worked. The Craig jig has worked really well for me. I've enjoyed that. What has not worked the best for me, and you'll probably see me struggling with it later, is I did get the circular saw Craig jig to work with the circular saw to cut wood with, and it works great probably if you have two people to hold stuff, but when you're one person trying to balance a big sheet of plywood with a limited space and such, and I clamp stuff down, but it's still hard to reach over a sheet of plywood and get everything cut perfectly. So some of my cuts don't go as smoothly as I'd like them to be, and here you see me going for the second layer of insulation. There's where I realized I didn't have the tape on the inside, so I go ahead and tape those seams up before I put the new insulation over. So I'm going to seal up those sections in there, and it's not that hard to do with even with the wood in place. I'm still able to seal off those little seams and get that sealed off better. Also in this particular episode, you're going to see me bring in vapor barrier. I did finally decide to be able to do vapor barrier on the bus. I was kind of going back and forth in my mind of whether or not I was going to do a vapor barrier, but I had listened to Chuck Cassidy on his channel, and he had recommended that if you're not going to do spray foam insulation, that you should have a vapor barrier up because of the moisture that builds up on the inside of your bus, and you don't want it to get into the walls. So I did have an opportunity to pick up some vapor barrier at a very good price. So in this episode, you'll see me put the vapor barrier up on all the walls. So even though I put some of these walls already together, you're gonna see me take them down and put them back, and I go for another layer of insulation on all of them. So here I'm putting layer 2 of insulation. I'll cut those out, and this goes pretty quickly too, because now I've gotten a system down to where, oh, this is super easy to do, because I've got this, and I just take a big sheet and I cut it out to size and we get it done. And I try to utilize the spaces that I can and use as much of the foam. I have like a box with a bunch of odd size pieces that I use to kind of space it in, and then I always tape up the joints so that it will be covered and there's no air gaps there. So it's really gone pretty smoothly, and I'm very, very proud and happy with the progress that has happened in this whole build. It's kind of nice to have walls coming up finally. It's been a hard journey to get to where I want to be with everything, but it is definitely coming along, and things are just really starting to take shape. So I'm starting to see more than just dirt and rust and stuff like that. So what you see me doing here is I'm cutting the piece of wood to go over that section, and you'll see where I start to, I basically had a couple of crates in there, and you see me clamp down the wood. I clamp down the wood and work with it that way, but it's still sometimes hard to get stuff done. I don't think I actually show where I was struggling with the Craig jig, but I think I took that footage out. But this was where I just clamped it down and just used my circular saw and cut out that piece there. Unfortunately, my camera angle is not the best right now. I was trying to capture as much of everything as I could, but yeah, I don't always get that done. And then I'll basically just mount that board. You'll see me get it. I have to fit it in and trim it down to the right size, and that's what you'll see me doing here. Is I get out my, I think I get out my jigsaw and cut it down to size, and get that section of wall finished. And you can see I've already framed out the top over the window there, and I have started to finish that all up in there. And the only thing I have left to do on those in this wall was to actually put up the vapor barrier, which I didn't have at this time. So I was basically building it as if I was going to be done, and then later on found the vapor barrier at a really good price at Habitat for Humanity. I love to shop at Habitat for Humanity because, one, they're doing something that is really good. I love to support charities whenever I can. And Habitat for Humanity is one of the ones that I really believe in. They build houses for people who can't afford to build homes, but they do it in a way that they partner with the people. And the people have to partner with the project, and they have to actually donate their time to Habitat for Humanity to help build their house. And it's just a good heart program that really helps people, and I like to see projects that help people. So I will shop there a lot, one, because I can get building supplies, and I find really cool furniture finds a lot of times at Habitat for Humanity. And I, in some of my spare time, which I don't have a lot of right now, I do refinish furniture. And I've taken a few what you would call a kind of a thrift store find and turn it into something beautiful. I actually have an example of that I could show you here in my office. I have a couple examples of that here in my office. That I have a desk I found at Salvation Army for $30, and I turned it into a beautiful roll top desk, and I painted it and refinished it and covered it with some urethane, and it's a beautiful desk now. I found a chair that was like at a hospice. Hospice is another organization I love to support because they helped me when my husband had cancer. And I'm just a real believer in helping organizations that help people and build people and help them get go through difficult circumstances. Hospice was really key to me when my husband was in the last days of his life. They helped our whole journey through to him just passing out of this world and saying goodbye. And they made it really so much easier. They're such compassionate people. I even had another really great experience with them when my uncle was sick and dying. They really are such great people. They have such great hearts, and they really help people transition from this life to the next. And it was a beautiful season for us. Even though it was a hard season, they helped make it better. And so hospice is another place that there's a hospice thrift store nearby here that I go shop at from time to time and pick up furniture finds. And I will support them. And I found a chair that was like $6. I think the chair was like $2.50, and then I got the material for $6, so I call it my $8.50 chair. So here you've seen me cut out a piece there for the top piece. I'm just basically putting in the foundation right now, and then later on I will come in and build my uppers and such. I do have an idea of what I want to do on the ceiling. I just haven't executed that yet, but I am looking into doing. I'm going to try a couple different sizes. I think I've settled on I'm going to do 1x3s on the ceiling, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm either doing 1x3s or first stripping. I think 1x3s might work out better economically because I won't need as many to cover the whole ceiling. But with this vapor barrier, I'm going to get that dark background that I wanted to have. I'm just going to have to really put a lot of painstaking time in putting that vapor barrier on the ceiling because of the fact that I want it to be really smooth and have a smooth finish to it. I don't want to stick a bunch of wood up there because it'll just weigh it down, and it's not necessary to have a whole bunch of wood up there. So I want the slats to be the ceiling, and that the black vapor barrier will be like more the background. So that means I'm going to have to make sure that I take time and get the wrinkles out. There you see me struggling. I actually had a hole there that I was trying to drill, and you'll see me lean up against the drill, and at one point I was just leaning, and it wasn't going anywhere. And so I was like, change the drill bit, try whatever you can. It was just a really struggle to get through that particular hole. I think probably what happened is one of the screws broke off in the hole. I don't like when that happens because it makes it difficult. Here I'm going to come back, I change out my drill bit, and I'm going to try one more time at that hole and see if I can get it through. And you see me just lean into that, and I think I just broke my drill bit or something. Oh, no. Okay, I finally got it to go in. There it goes. Yeah, see. So I finally got through that hole and got it mounted properly. And, it's a struggle sometimes because, you get in there, you drill the hole, and then all of a sudden the bit breaks or something like that, or a screw breaks in the hole. And it's frustrating when that kind of stuff happens, but you just got to say, okay, well, that didn't work, and I'll just try another hole. And you don't want to have a whole bunch of holes in your stuff, but sometimes it happens, and that's what they make trim for. The trim comes over and covers up the little imperfections, and you have to come to a point that you're either going to die by perfection, or you're going to accept the fact that, I always say, if it's homemade, it's not going to be perfect. And I don't strive for perfection, I strive for excellence, but my excellence does have, I don't have to have everything exact and perfect. I accept the fact that sometimes things don't work out, and that comes from life experience. In, like, when my husband had cancer, once again, when my husband had cancer, it was a difficult time, and we couldn't predict what was going to happen next, and not everything went perfectly. If it went perfectly, he'd still be alive, and it didn't happen that way. And sometimes in life, you just have to accept the things that happen to you in life, and you have to just embrace that and just continue to roll with it, and accept the little imperfections. And this is where you see me struggling with this particular hole. I can't get it drilled, and I think I finally got it through, and it mounted, and I was happy with it finally. So, sometimes drilling through these holes can be a little bit of a challenge, but, in order for something to be transformed, you have to sometimes just work at it, and other times it just falls right into place. Like these ones, the holes drilled right through real quick, and it wasn't a super huge effort to get those holes in, but there's always one hole that gives you a difficulty. But I'm really liking the way everything's beginning to look and come out. And sometimes you just got to take the patience and wait for that drill to drill through the hole. I have lots of little drill bits all around so that I can have a good supply. I keep a good supply of them from Harbor Freight. My nail gun is even from Harbor Freight, and I actually had one nail gun that I have had it's like a 3-in-1 type nail gun. It does brads and staples. And when I do to trim work, sometimes I like to have staples versus brads, because they hold better. But the brad nailer that I did have had been dropped so many times that it was leaking air, and I finally broke down and said, I have to get a new one. So I just finally got a new one. It's not like super expensive, but it is very adequate for what I need to do. I used it a lot when I did the furniture work. Like I said before, I had the $8 chair that I turned into a beautiful chair. The material and the chair I bought at the hospice thrift store, and it really came out beautiful. I call it the Queen's chair. Maybe I'll just sit in the Queen's chair, or I'll show you the Queen's chair. Unfortunately, the fabric has faded some over the years, but I have really enjoyed doing refinishing some of the furniture around here that I do, and I like to, once again, I like to support ministries and people who are helping people. I just love to help people. There I was trying to figure out if I was going to trim out the curved corners on the windows. I think I decided not to do that, and so I just opted to go with what I have here. I did go to Home Depot, or not Home Depot. I go to Lowe's more than Home Depot. I went to Lowe's yesterday and picked up some more wood and some trim pieces so that I can start trimming out I got some quarter round to be able to start finishing out the rest of the trim on the bus here today or tomorrow. I'm hoping to get to some more today, this afternoon. I'm going to take the time to finish up this video. There I have more wood going up to finish out around the windows and finish the wall boards up on the windows area. I have only a small amount. Now, by the time I get to the end of this video, there's that section of wall that I had not finished, that I finally finished putting the tape up on and finished out those little sections there and put the insulation in. I might have the video out of order a little bit, but there I'm putting up the framing on this particular wall. This is finishing up the wall that's right behind the driver's seat on the driver's side of the bus. And so I'm framing out that section there. And the only part that I have left to do is the top part of this wall and the section right there by next to where I have my little electrical panel. And I'm really thinking hard about putting all my electrical in that one little section there. I'm going to probably build in a wall here on the end of this section there where you see the end of the windows. I'll probably put a wall up there and run it across to the other side of the bus. And here's working on this section of the wall, finishing taping up after I put the insulation in. So this is a little bit faster version of what I was just doing. And I'm putting the wall board back up. Now this is before I got the vapor barrier. I did have it out of order. But this is where I finished up those sections there. And I put the insulation. First I went through with caulk, and then I put the insulation and then taped it. And then I finished out the framing, which I had the framing out of order just a little bit, but you can get the idea. So there's that, and there's me finishing up the framing. So I had a piece of framing in the wrong section, but that's okay. We'll just let it be. That's once again accepting the imperfections of life, and sometimes things don't go smoothly, and that's me finishing up those frame outs there and putting in the supports. And then you'll see me come in with behind that with the insulation and then the wall board. So there's your insulation. This is going to go really fast because I really got, one, a good angle, and two, I just really got a good section of insulation to finish this wall up. And it's been really pretty quick, and I've enjoyed doing this. It's really feeling good to do something that, once again, we have to start cleaning up in order to get things done. Here's where I have the vapor barrier now, and I'm going to start doing I didn't tape up this section of the wall, so I had taken this down so I could finish the taping on this wall and finish sealing that particular wall. So as you can see, I've got all the bottom walls now taped and insulated completely, and you see the back walls are done too. And so what I'm doing is just building the facing for the walls at this point, and I'm using 1/2-inch birch plywood is what I'm using. And there I have the vapor barrier. I'm spraying on some adhesive to help hold the vapor barrier against the wall, and then you'll see me put that vapor barrier up. I have my air gun. Stopped for a second to figure something out on my phone, and there I put the vapor barrier up. Now I didn't get it to reach the whole distance, so what I do is I spray it. You'll see me finish this up. This is where I'm going to put in some I'm stapling in the vapor barrier in place. So yeah, I did that so it will hold and not wiggle and move and such. So I put up adhesive, and then I stapled it in place, and you can see I've kind of overlapped it to the next wall. I'll spray it, and then I overlap the vapor barrier. Then I put the wall staple it down, and then put the wall board back up. And this really went really fast because I already had the holes drilled, and this is part of the reason I drilled holes and put it on with screws, because if I wanted to do something that I had to fix, I wanted to be able to take the wall off easily if I had to do some kind of repair behind the wall. So that makes it easier for me in the future. I should have edited that section out, but I didn't, and that's okay. But here I'm finishing up mounting the walls and completing this particular section of the wall here. And I'm really, really, like I said, happy with how this is all gone. And later on in the video, you'll see me put up trim on the edges. What you'll see me do next is I'll take my multi-tool and I'll trim off all that excess of vapor barrier off the bottom of the walls there. And I'll probably put a little bit on the flooring when I'm done. Put down some vapor barrier on the flooring, but it just really has been a satisfying thing and there I'm trimming off the top excess, anything excess on the top that isn't even with the window sill. I'm taking that wood and cutting it even with the window sill there, and I'm also cutting off the excess of the vapor barrier. So you see me trim all that off and it goes real smoothly. And then I start moving everything out of the way so I can switch walls. Because this is what happens a lot of the time. I have to move everything out of the way. And eventually I do take out this setup that I had here where I was cutting the wood on the inside because I didn't want to carry the big pieces of plywood outside. So I was cutting it on the inside of the bus. Cutting it on the inside of the bus makes it a little messy, but two, it does make it easier not to have to carry those big sheets of plywood outside. And here once again I'm putting the vapor barrier down. I put on spray adhesive and then I basically smooth it out and then come through with my stapler and I staple it on and just do the whole deal all over again. So that's another section of wall I got finished, and then I'll come in with more vapor barrier and I will do it all over again. I cut basically the section out that I needed to do that section and then repeat the process. And it has gone pretty smoothly, like I said, and I'm very pleased with the progress we've made. So this has been a cool process, and it's really feeling good. There I'm trimming down the wood to make it fit that section and making sure, checking my measurements, making sure I got it all right, trimming off any piece that I need to trim off, and then I'm putting the board in place. And then you'll see me do the whole repeat of the process, drill the holes, mount the board, and then trim the top and bottom parts of this section, and we get it all done. So yeah, loving it. So here you see me working on the back wall. I'm putting up some boards. I told you I was going to put up some boards to do where I would have better support for a mini split system. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to cover that section there, but I do. I'm just putting those boards up to support the extra weight of the mini split and have something to mount the mounting plate for the mini split. And I'll probably cover it up with some wood, but I wanted to have that section separate from the rest of the wall and to be able to properly mount that. I have some bugs that keep sneaking in. You just saw a bug crawl across the ceiling there. I've had a lot of honeybees this year. I don't know quite why, but I have. So what you see me doing is I have a big shelf on the back of the bus right now that was for the previous mini split. And so I'm taking the mounting plates off of that one at a time and then putting the boards behind that. And I actually do run some screws in the boards after I put that mounting plate on. But that's holding the boards against the wall, and then the mounting plates are there to hold the shelf in the back to the same distance as well. So I had cut those boards to fit, and mainly was wanting them to be in the reinforcing area of where the actual mini split was going to mount there. I may put a full board on the top, but I haven't done that yet. So I was just trying this particular, I'm not sure. You can see me going, okay, I'm not so sure I like that, so I'm going to find a smaller piece to fit in there. And I do. And so this is basically what I did in this section of the week. I did go on later and build out the fuel thing, but you'll see that in the next episode. Hey y'all, thank you for staying all the way through this video. I really enjoy the fact that you have stuck through all the way to the end. I just wanted to show you one more item that I have in my house that has been something that I talked about in the video. This is my $8.50 chair that I got from the hospice thrift store. It was ugly and not very pretty when I found it. I paid $2.50 for the chair, and I paid $6 for the material. That material that is on the top of it. I paid a little bit more for the stuff that I did to refix the chair, but she is looking beautiful now. And I call it the Queen's chair. And this is just another example of what I love to do. I love to find things that have hidden potential and find the way to bring out the beauty within. And that's what we're doing with Adventura. Thank you for taking the time to spend with me and stick all the way through this video. Please take time to like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody else who might have a similar journey and could benefit from what I've learned. Thank you for joining me, and y'all come back. Thank you all for taking time to stop by. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Y'all come back now.
Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.